So for today's practice, I will use a block minimum. If you want to have two, even better. You can use a bolster, you can use a cat to lie on, whatever you choose to do. And gather these things near your mat, because we might use them fairly soon. And we shall begin then lying down on the backs. So as you come to lie down, you might already use a bolster, and you could have that underneath your knees for now. You might already use a thin cushion. And why do I say thin cushion? Because when we're using a thick one, the chin kind of tucks in, and we are involuntarily using Jalandhara Bandha, whereas we want our spine to be aligned when we're lying down right now. So as you find a comfortable position, just wiggle around enough to get there. I promise I won't keep you here forever, but it is a gorgeous way to begin. And if you allow your arms to just open out and away from the body, if you like, you can close the eyes. If you don't, it doesn't matter, to steady your gaze towards the ceiling. This week, I am using a poem from Rumi, and some of you know I've got an oracle card deck that contains all of those beautiful poems. I will read the poem to you now, and we will allow this poem to then lead us into a meditation at the end of our practice. So while you are lying relaxed in your Shavasana pose, just setting a soft intention to allow yourself just to be and to explore this shape as well as whatever shapes are to come, from that point of being an observer while actively aligning yourself with the practice, and not just physically, mentally as well. You could from there deepen your breath. And if it comes effortlessly to you, not just deepening the breath to be a bit more alert, but also choosing a full yogi breath pattern as you breathe from your belly to your rib cage and up to your collarbones. And you do the same when you're breathing out, letting the belly fall, the ribs come in, upper chest releasing. So I invite you to let the breath flow like this, or just in a deeper way. The poem is called A New Gown. Weary and consumed by longing, I was caressed by my beloved last night. My wounded soul was set free when I tasted the sweetness of love. My spirit was lifted at once. I surrendered my life while overflowing with joy, and my vision was filled with light. Love said, "Don't feel so hopeless, my weary and gloomy one, for my generosity is beyond forgetting those devoted to me. See how boundless divine justice can be. Behold my immeasurable kindness. Love embraced my spirit, and all my doubts vanished at once. A new and glorious robe of honor was placed on my shoulders. Love offered me the power of new vision and the transforming touch of divine generosity, and placed the chalice of eternal wine in my hand. While you are still comfortable in your reclined position, if you have a bolster underneath your knees, please remove that. The thin cushion can always remain underneath the head if it isn't in the way for yourself. And I'd ask you to step your feet down loosely onto the ground, the rough about hip distance apart. Lifting the right foot off the ground and giving your right knee a good squeeze into the chest. Hold it here and maybe extending your left leg out. Noticing the change in sensations as you make adjustments to the pose or change it slightly. And with your next out breath, then lifting your nose up towards the knee. With the inhale, lying back down. With the exhale, nose to the knee and the option of lifting the straight leg a little bit off the ground. And then lying back down again as you're inhaling. Repeat that for 3 more. Lifting off the straight leg is optional, but we're bringing the nose towards the knee. On the out breath, we lift. On the in breath, we lower. Our last one here. And then as you're lying back down, extending your right leg, just interlacing your hands somewhere behind the leg. And you might already experience a stretch, may that be subtle or strong. And we will start to point and flex the right foot for a bit. So getting some more mobility into the ankle joint and into the foot itself, and maybe noticing how that impacts the sensations you can feel in the lower leg, but maybe also in the thigh. You can hold your foot as feels best for you, pointed or flexed, or in that state in between where the ball of the foot is pushing up. And with the next out breath, then draw that straight leg further in towards your body. If the left leg extended is too strong, you can still step that foot to the ground. Drawing the right leg in, and then let it go with your hands, but keep it in the air. Bringing the arms down onto the floor, away from your body, but not quite at shoulder height. Touching the palms down towards the ground, pointing your foot. And I'm inviting you now to start circles with the foot. Start about a mid-range circle as you stabilize by pressing down into the shoulders, into the hands. Allowing the circles then to become larger. Just the right leg circling at this point. Pause it and change the direction. One more circle, so try not to go too fast or too slow, and then stop as the leg crosses the body. Notice if it's okay for you to leave the leg straight, but you could also bend the knee. Open the arms out, the palms facing up, and take the leg across the body, maybe even resting the foot or the knee down. Maybe shoulders, try and keep them grounded to the floor. Gaze might be upwards, but you could also turn the head to look to one side. Take a deep breath and long, slow sigh out. Embracing then your core muscles. Again, the head comes to center and then either bend or straight leg, lifting it back up to the ceiling as you bend the knee and step the foot onto the ground. If your other leg is long, you can either step that foot down as well or extend both legs. Adjusting your spine, finding comfort in arms and shoulders, and just pausing for a moment. Knees could fall in if they're bent, and just noticing your left and right side. We will now bring the left knee into the chest. You can interlace your hands across the shin or the knee as you hug the leg in. And if the right foot on the floor is where you want it to be, that's perfect. Otherwise, you could extend the leg out and just noticing how it feels here to keep your knee hugged in and how the rest of the body is going. With your next exhalation, then lifting your nose up towards the knee. And as you breathe in, lying back down. As you breathe out, lifting the head towards the knee again, maybe the straight leg comes off the floor. And as you're inhaling, you lie back down. 3 more to go, your way. Straight leg on or off the mat, nose towards the knee on the exhale, and lying back down on the inhale. 2 more. And when you completed, you're lying back down. You're releasing your knee and extending the leg up, taking a hold behind the leg. And just noticing how it feels on this side to extend. We oftentimes have our preferences, and that is for movement as well as for flexibility. So let us start to point and flex the foot and watch in our mind how that impacts the sensations in the left leg. As we pause this movement, you can choose again flexion or pointing or pushing up through the ball of the foot. And with the exhalation, just drawing your left leg in towards your body. If you want to keep hold here, that's fine. You could also slide your hands a little bit higher as you keep hugging your left leg in. When we release the leg, we will still keep it in the air. The arms will fall out and away from the body. The palms of the hands are touching down onto the ground, helping us to stabilize. You could point your foot now. And as we find stability in the upper body, we're starting a mid-sized circle in the air with the left foot or left leg. Spiraling the circles out. and then changing their direction. Just the right pace to make them nice and round. And when you next time come across the body, hold here. Turning the palms upwards, as you might either take the whole straight leg across the body and land it on the ground, or you can bend the knee. Notice how far you can go in your shape as you aim to keep your shoulders on the ground. Your gaze can remain upward, but you could also turn your gaze towards the left or the right. Allowing a deep breath in, long, soft sigh out. As we bring our leg to center on an exhale, we're using the core. Knee can be straight or bend as we're taking the leg up. And then placing both feet back down onto the mat, potentially realigning yourself. Maybe bringing your knees together again, the arms more Shavasana-like. I would love you to come into a rested pose. You can use 2 blocks for it, as you might use one to rest your head upon and the other to align with your spine. So I'm placing them down like a T shape on the floor, and I've aligned myself over that T shape. If you don't have 2 blocks, you could also use your bolster instead. As easy as that. As I will encourage a bit of opening through the front. So I usually use my fingers behind my back to align the short end of the block closer to your feet to be at about brow line. Then I align the spine over it, and I might adjust the block that I have underneath the head. If you are lying down over a bolster, you might have a little bit of cushioning underneath your bottom, and maybe an extra cushioning underneath the head, because I find oftentimes when there's no extra lift in the bolster, the head falls a little bit backwards. But that's for you to explore as you settle into that open shape. Now, if you've got a block underneath you, your shoulder blades would be free, and they would then snuggle up against the block as you open your arms out towards the sides. And I would love you to just explore that at first before we think about our legs. Acknowledging the sensations on the inside of the shoulder blades and how they hug into the block. The head supported, eyes open and steady or closed and steady. And then once you've explored that, we will bring our legs into Supta Baddha Konasana as we touch the soles of the feet together and let the knees fall out to the sides. Now, I'm aware that this might not be comfortable for you, and of course, can you come out of that at any stage? You could also bring in some cushions and blankets and support underneath the legs if that helps your shape. If you choose to have the legs out long instead, no reason needed, no explanation to self. Just notice if this is what you choose, then maybe widen the legs, making sure that the toes are rolling outwards. I would ask you all to just let your awareness come from your upper back and the shoulder blades down into the pelvis. the legs as they're open from the hips. Then take awareness into the tummy. And return to deep, full breathing. While we're allowing our body to be completely relaxed for a little while, keeping a strong breath flowing, maybe full yogic breathing, or even ujjayi breath, a light constriction in the back of the throat, hissing sound accompanying a full yogic breath. Observing how the breath travels through the body. Maybe using that light contraction of the lower abdomen when you're exhaling. Noticing where are you holding back? Where you're holding on, maybe to protect yourself. And what is it that you need to do to release the tension of holding on? Letting go what doesn't serve you. Inviting love and light. Spend another 3 breaths in your pace in this shape. And when you have completed your 3 breaths and your knees are out, you might lift your knees back up with or without the help of your hands, both at the same time or one after the other. And if your legs are out long, you will step your feet onto the ground now, allowing the feet to touch the floor again. Different sensations to touching the soles together. Let your arms come in so the palms can touch the floor by the side of your hips. Maybe if you're not lying over the bolster, you've got your forearms down on the ground. Now, if you're on a bolster, this will be very tricky. So I will ask you to either sit up or just roll over to the side as fits. Otherwise, you might bring your fingers underneath, tuck the elbows in, the chin in towards the chest, and briefly push yourself away from the ground. Just removing your blocks or whatever you've been lying on from behind, and then lying your body straight back down onto the ground. Now, as you're lying down here again, let's bring both knees into the chest and give them both a loving hug. With the next out by lifting your nose between your knees. And then releasing the head back down onto the floor. Extending both legs up towards the ceiling now. You can take a gentle hold behind the legs as you align them next to each other. You might point your feet up and then opening the arms back out to where they were when we circled one leg. So out to the sides, palms down, but not quite shoulder height. We will circle again. Please be mindful we're using both legs at the same time. We're keeping our legs together as we begin another mid-sized circle. Notice how the body's responding, and if the body's okay with that, widening the circle. Try not to go too fast and aim to have your legs reasonably straight and glued together. You will find that there's strength required to get this movement going. Try not to avoid the strength, but also don't go into strain. Pause now and reverse the circle. Taking it into the other direction. I recommend to bring the circles in and to bend the knees. If you feel you're benefiting more from straight legs for a twist, please keep them long. We will turn the palms of the hands upwards and we will allow our legs to move to the right. Trying to keep your knees touching, your feet stacked, the shoulders on the ground, and either looking up or turning the head in one direction. You can close the eyes if you like. And we're pausing here for a deep, full breath in. And a long, soft sigh out. Then embrace your core. You could leave your feet on the floor if required. Otherwise, use your core strength and pull your knees straight back in towards your chest. And if your legs were long, they will now extend towards the ceiling as we bring our legs across to the left. If your knees are bent, keep them touching. Your feet stacked, both shoulders on the ground, and if appropriate, then turning the head to one side. As you settle into the twist, have a long in-breath and an even longer, soft sigh out. You completed that. Embrace your core. You can bend your knees. You can lift your legs up straight, whatever works for you as we bring them back in towards the chest for another loving hug and embrace. If you prefer rocking to boat poses, you have that option today. You could start rocking forward and backwards. But otherwise, you might extend your legs out long and you might leave your arms alongside the body. For 3 rounds of boats, inhaling as you exhale from your mouth, see if you can sit up into a boat. And with the inhale, lie back down. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out as we're sitting up, and we might have joined those of you who decided to rock forward and back or come up to sit in a different form. Now, once we are in the seated shape, let your legs come out wide. We'll allow ourselves to bend a little bit sideways. So let's flex the feet. Maybe you're sitting on a cushion to help you move forward in this shape. Maybe you're sitting on the floor. You could also bend your knees if you like. We will turn ourselves towards the right leg. And as you're breathing out, just leaning over the right leg. We'll place the right arm on the inside of the leg. And we'll take a breath to draw the opposite arm over the head. Now, if that's not suitable, you can keep your hand in the side of the waist. Otherwise, palm is facing down. Gaze might even be lifted. If your neck feels sore, you could look down towards the floor. Now, see if you can ground through both sides of your sit bones as you're using an out breath to go deeper into the shape. while we're bringing space into the side. With the next in-breath, lift up with strength from the side. Maybe both arms are rising. And then let the hands float back down towards the ground. Again, as we sit here, we've got different sensations left and right side. And while we might acknowledge that, we're beginning to turn towards the left leg. With an out breath, then leaning over the left leg. As you now know, it's not about a forward fold, it's about a side bend. So we will take our left arm to the inside of the left leg. Make sure your toes are still pointing up. And then the right hand could go into the side of the waist if that arm is challenged, or the shoulder. Or you could open that arm over the head. Palm of the hand is facing downwards, anchoring through both sit bones, being active in both legs, and leaning across to the side. You can even close your eyes here so the mind isn't wandering, or maybe if it wanders more with the eyes closed, you're steadying the gaze. Making your own judgment here as we exhale to deepen the side bend. We're using our inner strength again to lift up all the way. And then, as if you're showering yourself with light, you're letting the hands float back down. Taking your legs together now. Keeping your toes pointing up as we lengthen again through the spine. Take your right hand and bring it to the outside of the opposite knee. Back of the hand touching there. And as you inhale now, let your left arm extend backwards and follow it with the gaze. If you find that is okay, touch these fingertips to the floor and see if you can deepen the twist. Keeping your feet attached to each other so that the legs stay parallel and we're not moving from the hips. Now let's take the arm from behind on an in-breath, lifting it up to the ceiling, and then let the hand slide down the outside of the leg as we're bending sideways once more. Still keeping your feet together. Gaze might just be turned towards the left. As we embrace our inner core, lifting both arms up, take an inhale. And again, as if you're washing yourself, showering yourself with light, those hands drawing down by the sides. As we come back into a centered seat, just noticing again, what's the difference left and right side? Maybe one's more grounded than the other. And then take your left hand and place the back of it against the opposite knee. As you take your next inhale, let the right arm extend backwards and follow it with the gaze. Keeping the feet parallel, and your choice to land the backhand's fingertips to the floor, deepening your twist, the twist that comes right from your spine, while both sit bones evenly grounded to the floor. If you're happy with that, take the hand from behind, extend the arm, and then breathe out as you're bending over the straight legs. Watch what's happening there. If any of that is too much, there's always the side bend where the hand is resting in the side of the waist. Just extending across within a twist. Now, as we're inhaling, lift up with strength, reach both arms up again. And let that light wash away everything that's no longer needed. And we're finding our seat. Ask you to swing your legs over to one side and find your way into a standing shape. While we're creating a lot of space in the body today, we are also allowing ourselves to build up some inner strength. So to go a little bit deeper into that, we're using our balance. Let us lift the arms out towards the side as we're inhaling, and breathing out, we'll bend both knees. Now, hopefully you're standing on one side of the mat as well. We will take the leg that faces the longer side of the mat and lift the knee. And then we're crossing the leg over for an eagle shape. You can touch your big toe to the floor, keep both knees bent, and let that arm where you lifted from the leg come underneath the other. And then we're winding our arms up, either to hug the shoulders or to bring the hands together. Now we're pausing in the eagle, letting the shoulders soften and the elbows lift a little. Nice, steady gaze point here. And then as you're breathing in, lifting the top knee again. We will open our arms as we inhale. We will extend the leg as we exhale. We'll bring a bend back into the standing leg and land the foot down in a standing triangle as we're extending again through our legs. The side that we came from, we're turning the toes towards on the inhale. And on the exhale, we're finding Trikonasana, or the triangle pose. Now for me, a triangle bears a lot of strength. And while my top shoulder right now isn't the greatest, I will place my hand into the side of the waist. You're welcome to make all of these adjustments suiting your body. As we find our triangle here, the most common is that we reach towards the ground. I would like you to lengthen through the sides, so we're reaching over and across. And we've practiced that in our seated shapes. And you might find that if you remove all assistance against the leg, you're really working strongly into your core. How does it feel in your feet? Are they strong and grounded, or are they collapsing to help you? While you next inhale, just bend into the knee that you turned your foot out. And then push yourself back up to stand as you breathe in. Turn this foot forward and turn the other foot out. And while you're exhaling, come into the triangle on this side. Realign. There's a lot of small things going on. If this arm doesn't like to be extended, you could place it into the side as well, making sure your shoulder stays back. When you feel into the leg that is facing in the direction that you moved towards, notice if the knee is twisted and see if you can engage your thigh, rotate that so the knee is aligned with your toes. Is the side of your waist still long, or have you collapsed into this shape? What are the feet doing while you're focusing on your knees? And how is the breath functioning? It's a good sign on how strong or soft this shape might be. And as you're next inhaling, bending the knee and pushing yourself back out as you turn the toes forward. We will change our position. We will lean across to the side, the arms staying wide as we're lifting the foot off the floor, finding our star. As we're bending the knee, We will lift up through the knee. That's the other side now. And we're crossing that over. You could touch your big toe to the floor, but keep nice knees in a bend. The arm facing the long side of the mat comes underneath as we embrace either the shoulders or we're bringing the palms of the hands to touch. So we're back in our eagle or Garudasana, the shoulders softening, the elbows lightly lifting, and there's a good steadiness in our gaze. Let's inhale and lift the knee. Extend the arms. Standing leg is still bent to develop some strength. And then we're grounding the foot down, releasing the arms. Standing for a moment in mountain pose. Trying to make as little adjustments as is possible. And just standing on the 2 feet, a steady gaze or the eyes closed. Palms might be open. Make sure the knees are out of lock so the pelvis is in neutral. And then observe how the body's energies are moving through you. We'll find our way back down onto the ground and we will continue on the floor with Nadi Shodhana or alternate nostril breathing. So I will sit on a block. Please find yourself whatever you need to sit on and be comfortable. You're always welcome to use chairs as well. So sometimes the body just needs that little bit of kindness. Although we know we can usually do one thing, sometimes it's better to do it in a different way. So as you find yourself grounded down into your seat, your spine is nice and long, and hopefully this feels effortless. If it doesn't, if you're forcing yourself long, or if you've got anything going on, pinchy in the back or in the hips, change your shape and make sure you're comfortable. Alternate nostril breathing, most of you would be familiar with. I will still explain in case you forgot that the thumb to close off the right nostril, the ring finger to close off the left. That's my usual way because I'm right-handed. And index middle finger can hover or rest on eyebrow center or fold in. The little finger can fold in as well, if you like. So let the arm and shoulder relax into place. If you need some support, you might take the opposite hand and rest your elbow into the palm. We will close off the right nostril to begin with. And inhaling fully through the left. We will then close the left and open the right nostril, exhaling here. Inhaling through the right nostril. Closing and opening the left, exhaling through the left as we completed one cycle. Inhaling again, left. Exhaling right. Inhaling right. Exhaling left. And I ask you to continue that, breathing in through the left, out of the right, in the right, and out the left. Eyes can be closed once familiar with the technique, and alternating the nostrils. While you continue doing so, aiming now for even length in all the breaths. You can use the Ujjayi technique to assist you. Completing another 2 full cycles and then just resting the hand down and pausing. Noticing at the end of this breathing practice, there might have been one nostril that was dominant, one where the air flows through more easily. It's perfectly normal and will change multiple times throughout the day. With as little disturbance as you can manage, coming down onto your back again as we re-enter Shavasana. You might find a bolster under the knees beneficial, that cushioning under the head, and let the arms just fall away, the body come to rest. Closing the eyes again or steadying your gaze. So when we come back into Shavasana, we want to be comfortable, of course, but even more so do we want to be at ease. And while there's certain alignment points for this shape, there is a lot of support available. Taking any last movements now to settle into the shape. Then take a long, deep inhalation through the nose. And have the longest soft sigh of the day. Maybe these sighs help you to settle in. To allow the body to rest. Maybe feeling a little bit heavy or a little bit light towards the ground. Acknowledging what it is that you feel right now. Knowing that thoughts will come and go. And that when we want to find a steady and calm focus, such as our breath, the thought will come in and interrupt us in that process, welcoming everything that arises, but also releasing it again, letting it go. A new gown was the poem I read at the beginning, Rumi. It says here in the book that you are fast approaching a moment of a great leap when this card arises. An evolutionary shift on your spiritual path. Your sense of yourself and your divine identity is about to be revealed and realized in a way more potent than ever before. This is wonderful. It is a divine happening, so you better allow it. Do not confuse humility with humiliation. Do not humble yourself excessively. Do not have to battle with false pride either. Simply honor yourself as a living being, worthy of life, worthy of this royal path of divine realization. What a gift it is to cast aside belief in inferiority or superiority, unhelpful as those notions are for you now. What a gift instead to embrace your own path, irrespective of what any other may think, whether they hold it in glory or derision. Who cares? Not you, nor I. Your royal heritage has been revealed, and in seeing the divinity within yourself, you become blessed to see it in all beings returning to the realization of royalty within. Raised, searching outside of the heart will come to an end. A simple golden path will be found, as though a river of molten gold flows from your heart back to the oceanic heart of the great beloved, where, united again, you finally ascend your throne and claim your divinity once and for always. This oracle comes with sacred guidance for you. You're stepping into empowerment in a new way, and it is to be honored. Do not allow yourself to be dragged into dramas or power games. You're worth so much more than that. You're tapping into your inner dignity, and others may not know how to respond. Some will respond with love and acknowledgement, others with fear and judgment, calling you too big for your boots or high and mighty. Those are voices of fear, not truth. Be in your dignity and power and keep going. It is the divine that urges you thus, not the ego. Don't doubt the changes happening within you now. Embrace them. If you are feeling very perfectly relaxed right now, there's no necessity to come up to sit. But if you can manage to come to sit without disturbing your body too much, I recommend to have a few little movements to take you to a comfortable, upright, seated position again. When you arrive, Don't muck around, just close the eyes or steady your gaze again. Let your hands rest. Your crown of the head reach upwards. Center across your sit bones. As you sit comfortably, visualize or intend that the most beautiful gown of many colors surrounds you. You may or may not be aware of the colors. You may see layers of shimmering lights, stars, roses, or more. You may hear the gown singing like a choir of angels, or gargling as though it is a fountain of liquid gold. Let it be as is for you, subtle or powerful as it wishes to be. Whatever happens for you is perfect. With this beautiful gown that you just imagined on as it fits you so beautifully. Take a deep breath, lift your arms out and then up towards the ceiling. Touch the hands together and draw them down in front of your heart space. Keep yourself upright and tall for a little bit longer. As we finish our practice with one Om, followed by 3 Shantis, universal sound and peace. As we inhale and exhale together. Inhaling then for the Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Lightly bow the heads towards the heart and lift the heart towards the head, connecting with love and light. Wearing our colorful gown, extending all of those beautiful qualities to everybody else with a light bow. Namaste.